choose to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
This is Oscar Bevis for IFL TV. I said to you, Dev, it wouldn't be right unless we ended the fight week with a Dev Sahni on IFL TV. So welcome.
Thank you, Oscar. Great to be back. How are you? You all right?
You're good, mate. Good. Obviously, looking forward to tomorrow night. I guess do or die for Joyce if we're being blunt at world level.
Look, I guess so, right? He's just turned 38 years old, hasn't he? 38 years old.
I mean, he don't look it, but
he doesn't look it. You know, he looks good. They're both, Joe's just turned 38. Zhang's 40. It's a long, long way back, mate. If you lose this fight, you lose your position. The winner of this fight is mandatory for the title currently held by Alexander Usyk. You lose this, it's just a long way back. And you've also got to think, with someone like Zhang-Joyce, even if he was to lose this, it's still not going to be top of many people's shopping list to have a fight with, right? Who wants to have a fight with that guy? So look, it's very important that from the Zhang-Joyce perspective, he gets the win. There was a lot of talk about he came in too light for the first fight. That was a career heavy that we've now seen from Zhang-Joyce today. So he's certainly listened to that, and no one can call him light this time. But it was also a career heavy for Zhilei Zhang. But this time there's only like 6 or 7 pounds between them. First time there was 22 odd pounds. Let's see if any of it makes any difference at all. I can't wait for this fight. It's one of the best fights that can be made actually in the heavyweight division, especially after what happened in April.
yeah, I love it. There's been such a fuss around weight, isn't there? But obviously, I guess everything plays a part, but it is about the boxing in the ring. Quick one on Zhilei Zhang. I know you've got kind of a bit of a soft spot for him. Obviously, Team Zhang-Joyce, as we know, but I think you can't have a soft spot for Zhilei.
I know, right? This keeps happening to me. These away fighters come over, and I just end up being like, oh yeah, he's really cool. Like, mate, even like Usyk, like when he was boxing Dubai, I did a lovely interview with him. He was like talking about his dad and all of this stuff. I don't know, but with Zhilei Zhang, he's a top guy, and he's quite comic, right? And all this chat get zanged, all this I bang everything. I don't know how much of this is just his translator Kurt, just like having a laugh with all of us, sort of thing. But no, he's a great character, and let's see. I'm just looking at his poster now, and looking at. Have you noticed this artwork, right? So you zoom in on his face, and yeah, it's got the Chinese flag in one of the eye. But I'll tell you one thing, he has promised not just Chinese power this time, he's promising Chinese speed. Imagine that. So Zhang-Joyce has got to be wary of the speed and the power. So, big fight.
Yeah, scary if Zhang can promise speed as well.
Look, he was fast in the first fight, wasn't he? I think he shocked Zhang-Joyce. Zhang-Joyce was like, Zhang-Joyce probably just thought, I've got this 40-year-old in front of me, I'm just going to bang him out, I'm going to go and fight Usyk, right? Because you got to think, it wasn't like a mandatory fight. It was made for the reasons that, Zhang's just secretly beaten Hrgovic, Zhang's got Olympic pedigree, it's a great name to have in your CV. But Joyce was supposed to beat him and then move on. But he didn't. It turned into a bit of a nightmare. So, he's got it all to do. And you've got to think from Zhang-Joyce's perspective. First time that he went into a changing room and people weren't, jumping around, cheering, celebrities coming in, taking selfies, nothing like that. It would have just been a very quiet changing room with people not really knowing what to say. How does that affect your mind? And I just wonder what sort of Zhang-Joyce we're going to see.
Yeah, one thing I said to Adam yesterday after the press conference was, I guess this is kind of the way they had to take the defeat. He was quite honest up there, albeit quite brutal. He said, look, we took a fat L, we lost. He literally looked at Joe and went, we lost, you lost. But I suppose that's the only way you can take it. We've seen too many fighters, not to mention any names, but some obvious ones, who've kind of thrown excuses about. I guess sometimes you've got to look in the mirror and be like, I made a mistake, you made a mistake, we all made a mistake here.
Well, look, I think there's a lot of that, and I think you understand how they've taken the defeat from what they've done next, and he has made changes. He says he's more focused than ever. We can see the literal changes in terms of his weight, but there's been changes in his camp. He's had to do things a bit differently. It's called eye for an eye, and maybe in the first fight he took his eye off the ball a little bit, and I think he concedes that, and I think he bought into his own hype. There were quotes out there twists on the Mike Tyson quote, everyone has a plan till they punch me in the face and nothing happens. He was just having a laugh. The Terminator ring walk, which ended up being quite ironic for Zhang-Joyce, unfortunately. But look, it's very clear he probably overlooked Zhilei Zhang the first time round, and now he'll have a bit of fear in him. He knows what Zhang's about. He knows he can't just instantly juggernaut him like he has done with previous opponents.
Yeah, mate, I can't wait. And considering this is the best heavyweight fight for the foreseeable, tune in. It's a banger. I know we just had Usyk Dubois, but other than that, if you look at like the top 15, 20, who is really active? Maybe just Jared Anderson, and that's probably about it. Everyone else seems to be just sitting on their hands.
Well, look, it's a reason to tune in. You've got to tune in to this fight. I mean, if you like heavyweight boxing and you watched the first fight back in April, an absolute thriller. I watched it back, like just the highlights the other night, and it really was such a good fight, and that shock element as well. And when you've got a fight where it's got genuine consequence, a genuine impact on the heavyweight landscape, the winner of this could potentially be a future world champion. They're the sort of stakes that I like. They're the sort of fights I like. And, Zhang-Joyce essentially ran into the Chinese version of himself. And now he's got to figure out if he can beat him.
Yeah, mate, I cannot wait for that first bell to ring. A quick one on Tyson. So obviously, we all love Tyson. But this quote about him wanting to do a Hollywood film, wanting to top the Forbes rich list. I know he's had the Netflix series as well, and I know there was talk at the Ngannou presser about John Jones and then maybe running the fight back in the cage afterwards. Is there that tinge of disappointment from you? Because we love Fury and we'll watch whatever he does. I'll watch the Ngannou fight. But it is here where we want to see Tyson Fury in the actual heavyweight boxing mix. So is there kind of a little bit of a tinge of disappointment to that, do you think?
I think you will see him. I think you will see him fight against Usyk. I think that fight is going to happen. Look, Tyson Fury has done so many brilliant interviews, hilarious interviews, where he'll say so many different things. He'll talk about some of his methods in the preparation for some of his fights, and some of those are perhaps a tad unsavoury, and what he'll do. But look, he just says things, and I think sometimes he's on a bit of a wind-up with the media as well. He's having fun. You talk about this Hollywood film, and then you ask him, oh, who's going to play you? And he insists it will be Denzel Washington. So look, he's having a laugh half of the time. I don't know what's going to be next after Fury and Ngannou, but I have a real strong feeling that Usyk fight will happen. And I would just say with boxing fans, just stay patient. I think it will happen. All these big fights, they do end up happening, right? And it's not like they haven't been trying to make Fury versus Usyk. That's the one that we want to see. It's not like they haven't been trying to make Fury versus Joshua. It's just those couldn't happen, and the Ngannou opportunity popped up. Why would you not go and do it? You're kicking off Riyadh season. You're starting a great relationship over there. Why would you not do that? I would just say, let's look at the bigger picture and just stick with us a little bit.
Yeah, and I suppose he's a WBC belt holder who has fought a mandatory, I suppose, of recent. So
I've seen some crazy stuff. I've seen people saying Fury should be stripped. But look, when he has a mandatory, he fights a mandatory. He's boxed his mandatory. It was Dillian White. If they stick another mandatory on him, I'm sure he'll box him. That's when the conversation about potentially being stripped starts, not when he's just having a fight with the WBC's blessing, which is a huge event. I don't even know why that's a conversation right now.
Yeah, me and Shane were laughing and said Adonis Stevenson didn't get a WBC mandatory for about 8 years. So, Joshua Wilder, obviously, that now looks like it's not going to happen. Just disappointment because, mate, I feel like people say we've been going on about this for a few years. Mate, a few years, like 7 or 8 now. I remember speaking to Lou DeBella about it in like 2016 and saying, there's a couple of problems here and there, and it's one of the best fights you can make.
It's just, it's been an ongoing saga, hasn't it? It's been going on for ages and ages. I've said this before, I've wanted to see the fight since Deontay Wilder knocked out Luis Ortiz the first time, because I didn't think Deontay Wilder was necessarily that good before that. I thought maybe, look, he's just an accident waiting to happen, but he banged out Ortiz, and Ortiz was really good. Ortiz had just knocked out Bryant Jennings, who gave Klitschko a great fight, by the way, Bryant Jennings. So Ortiz is a very, very good win, and for me, that showed that Wilder was serious. And after that fight, when he started talking about, I want to fight Joshua, I thought, come on, let's see this fight. And then I just think from the other side, they just slow played it a little bit. But I do think there is genuine intention to make the fight now, but only for obscene amounts of money, because it's such a risk for Anthony Joshua to turn into a meme after this fight. I think he just wants the maximum amount of money for that, which is fine, which is what you'd want. But perhaps the money that they thought they were going to get for the fight, which they were all okay with, maybe that money just doesn't exist anymore. So now that they've got to think about, okay, look, do we still want to do that for half the money? Oh, I don't know, we could take a couple of easier ones and it would add up to the same. Maybe there's those sorts of conversations going on. I don't know, I hope to see it. I think both fighters, Deontay Wilder 1,000,000% wants to fight Anthony Joshua. I also think Anthony Joshua wants to fight Deontay Wilder right now. I think they're ready to go. It's just everything's got to line up, and unfortunately it looks like it's not.
To not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,